talk about it before. All the different jobs that we've had in our lifetime since we were young.
A bunch of them.
Bunch of, but we have a lot of new subscriber friends.
Several thousand, huh?
Yeah. And it's some of the things that a lot of people do. Some people might think that, well, that's pretty neat. And it is pretty neat. Some people may not know that you were a taxidermist. And you still are. Could you still do it?
I could do it, but I don't have all the equipment. I don't want to do it no more, I don't think.
It's a really tedious job, isn't it?
Very tedious. People just really don't realize what really goes into it.
I mean,
it's kind of like doing YouTube videos. People just really don't understand what it takes to do a proper mount. Now, you can just throw one together, but whenever you go as far as putting a rubber ball up inside of an animal and taking a razor blade and picking the fat out around the eyelashes, it gets, and I'm talking about little bitty rows of fat around the eyelashes.
Around the eyelashes.
From the inside.
Well, I remember watching you and how particular that you were, but you also were taught and studied under a really, really well-known and very good taxidermist.
Yes. It was Mickey Gwatney that owned the building and had two gentlemen that worked for him, and later on, one of them, Bob Stout, he took over the business, and he just retired, and he's a preacher. He preaches. We went and listened to him preach, hadn't we? But that was in the 90s.
Early 90s.
Somewhere in the early 90s. I had worked on the towboats, the Mississippi River, and I'd hurt my back really bad. I had 2 or 3, maybe 4 ruptured discs, didn't I? It was pretty bad. And I've had several surgeons tell me at the time, and then even years later, that it was the type of surgery they had. Even later years, not too many years ago, that it'd be difficult the way they'd have to go in, maybe from front side. So anyway, to repair it or do what they got to do. And I'm sure they've come a long ways, but said I may not walk. So anyway, I was down about a year, roughly a year. I was down.
I remember that year.
That was a rough year, wasn't it?
That was a rough year for you, physically and mentally, and it was rough on your wife. We had barely,
we was poor, and we've become a lot poorer. That's for sure.
I tell you, when you go through them things, you appreciate a lot. And we had 3 babies. Well, not babies, but we had 3 kids, and one of them was a baby.
Yep, Tyler.
No, it was Allison. When you hurt your back.
Okay.
And then Tyler was just a little bitty thing when we went store business, and that's when you took your taxidermy and kindly threw it in with our store
on a side building there.
Because you weren't just doing taxidermy.
No.
You was working for the county too.
I was working for the county road department when I got going again, and we was in the store business, and then I was doing taxidermy too. So I'd get up in the mornings and go start the fire,
at the
get
store.
Everything going, and then I'd go to work. She'd come in, I'd go to work, my regular daytime job. Then I'd get off work, and a lot of times if we had to have something for the store, I'd run and get it. Then I'd come out the store, and I'd close the store. She would come home with the kids to take care of them. And then I would do taxidermy work till midnight, 1 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah. Yeah, you just
and then it would start all over again.
And we done that. I mean, we done it for a while, but and you done a lot of good work. You done fish mounts, deer.
Just about everything.
So
even a big.
Did you
Texas
enjoy it though? I know it was a job.
I did kind of enjoy it, but it's kind of like you're constantly in the mess. And
you're very responsible too, because people would bring big old, deer heads that they were so proud of. And you
deer
were
heads,
responsible for that.
and huge steer. Remember that big Texas
Yes,
Longhorn
yeah.
steer? But yeah, it was kind of got to deal with the public, kind of like store business. Everybody wants it done today. But anyway, no, it was just, it's tedious and not too bad a deal if you want to do it, though.
So once you're a taxidermist, you had to have do you have to have a license?
No.
Okay, so you don't like lose it. Like,
No.
People probably don't know that you were at one time an auctioneer either.
No.
You got your license and went to some schooling to be an auctioneer, right?
I went to Little Rock and took a test and passed it and got my license. And that was after the store business and the Brown Shoe Company and I did a few auctions. And then I got in the trucking business. And when I got in the trucking business, the auction business just went to the side. And you got to keep a bond, and you have to renew your license.
Right.
And I was so busy, and I didn't renew them, so I lost my license.
Do you think you could auctioneer now?
A little bit.
You think you could? Is that something you think you would like getting back into?
No. Well, sometimes, I mean, I wouldn't mind it to a certain degree, but we've got some good auctioneers in the country. So that's a lot of work. I mean, that's a lot. If you set it up and do it right, that's a lot of work.
I think between you and your brother, he would be your...
He'd be the guy to get it ready.
He's the one that would have all the stuff and get it ready, and you could auction
Then
it.
I just fly in on my plane. Fly in on my plane and do the auction and fly off.
Yeah.
There you go. I could do that.
David might agree with that. He might like that. I don't know.
I could do that.
But yeah, I mean, people really, you're a jack of all trades. Let's just put it that way. You've done a lot of different things. And that's why I tell people, we've never been without a paycheck, but the money just up here in the hills just wasn't here to be able to raise a family without the wife going to work. Nothing paid, enough for skilled workers up here in the hills, really.
If you want to stay around home, that's one reason I went to the towboats. And even at that time, that money was good for what it was.
And it's really good now if you could be away from your family. That
was the hardest part. And back then, there wasn't no cell phones, and all we had was a letter. And I'd only get mail when I come through Memphis.
I know. There was no cell phones, and it cost too many. What did they call that?
It was
calling from the river to...
It was marine to land.
Yeah. And it cost a lot of money.
Very expensive. Very expensive. So that didn't happen very often. Once, maybe twice since I was out there. But
you would write me a letter, but it was very... I wasn't good at writing letters. I was at home taking care of a little baby too, so I didn't write letters back. But it's so funny because, like you said, that was back before cell phones.
Way before cell phones.
So, communication.
Way before the mobile bag phone.
Yeah.
And I'd get my letters from her most time when I got off the boat at Memphis coming home.
Well, at least you got one.
I got one.
I do know that when you did, you had a really good friend that got you into the trucking business, and then you ended up being an owner-operator for 17 years?
I was owner. I trucked.
16.
I trucked for about 16, almost 17, but I was owner-operator somewhere around 14, 15 years.
Yeah. So he kind of got you started, though.
Yes, that rascal.
That rascal. And it did
I told him, I fussed at him all the time, said, why did you get me in this?
Because he knew that you would do it. He could count on you. You was a hard worker, and you needed to raise a family. And that's what it was all about.
That's when I was working at the transfer station for the county.
Oh, yeah. Working at the transfer station. That's what I said. You're a jack of all trades.
Actually, they put one in. They closed down the landfill, and they were transferring trash. And it's a pretty nasty job, but We was loading it on trailers and taking it to another landfill.
You know what I can remember about that time?
But I was
Avery, I keep calling Allison Avery. Allison was little, so we had three. And do you remember the only truck we had that time that was drivable was that little bitty, was it a Datsun? I don't know what it was.
I think it was a Datsun then. They call them Nissans now.
But I'd load them kids up in that little truck. Not all of them had seat belts. And I'd drive all the way town knowing it was payday. And
Get my big check.
I would drive to the transfer station on Friday, and I'd get your check and beeline it to the grocery store.
I never got my check.
So, I mean, we've seen some tough times, but we've always made it. And our kids always watched us be able to try as hard as we could to do what we had to do.
Yes.
So, you've wore many hats. I've not worn as many hats as you have. I've worn a few. I know I can remember because we did get married when we were young.
Very young.
And I stayed in school for a little while. And but one of the first jobs I had was working at the county library in town.
Yeah.
And I hated every minute of it.
That's not nice.
I did. I did not like it at all. In fact, I dread it every morning. And it's not, because you know how much I love books. I do love books. I love to read. I love stories now. But when you're 16, it's just not something you're really
She got bored easy.
I got bored to death. But now I'd probably love it. I'd probably love to work in a library now. But I remember then, But then I ended up, for just a little while, going to work at Brown Shoe Company, making women's dress shoes.
And I worked there when I first got out of high school.
Now, I didn't work for very long when I ended up, I don't remember in between them times, but then I ended up going back to Brown Shoe and worked close to 7 years making leather women's dress shoes.
Cut them out by hand. You cut out redos too, didn't you, by hand?
I cut leather. I was a leather cutter. And I worked in the cutting room, is what they called it. So you got vinyl, and them are the huge machines that you use these dies, and you cut the vinyl shoes out, each piece. People don't realize how many pieces is in a shoe, do they?
I have no idea how
There's
much
a
it
lot of pieces in a shoe.
takes a lot to make a shoe.
But I cut the leather. That's when they take the cowhide or whatever, and then what do they do to it? Tan it, cut it in half, tan it so it's about this thin.
Just cowhide.
Cowhide.
Or pig hide.
Yeah.
Or vinyl type.
But
Lizard.
I cut the real stuff though, the leather, the high dollar stuff. Had a huge machine. Now, you talk about some muscles. I had some muscles then because I had to use on that machine.
It would cut your finger off.
And it was so loud when you bring that thing around with that big old die and you hit that thing and it'd cut that leather. I think there was, 8 or 10 of them leather cutting machines. So it was loud in there.
That factory was loud.
It was loud.
I'm talking about loud and smelt high. You get high on glue.
It was
glue everywhere.
I can remember too. I was pregnant with Brittany when I was working in there. And it worried me to death because of all the glue smell and all that. I was scared to death something was going to be wrong with her.
Hot in there in a lot of places.
Yeah.
But you went from there to doing the hand cutting on a board.
Yeah, that was what you would call the back room. If one of the other departments messed up the shoe, it would come back and we would have to hand cut the leather or the vinyl to that one piece that was messed up, and then they'd send it back and redo it.
And they did brand new samples. You cut brand new samples.
Yeah, brand new samples of shoes. But yeah, I mean, it's amazing to me.
That was a salary job.
Yes, piecework.
It wasn't piecework on when you did
No, not on that. No.
The other one was
Piecework on cutting shoes.
And that's what I was on, piecework. And if they would run stuff. You'd be running good and having 2 or 3 good days, and then they'd run the awfulest stuff, hard to run. You'd lose all your time, and you'd make minimum wage.
Do you remember
$125 a week bring
what
home.
was minimum wage back then? Was it $3.25?
I don't even remember. So somewhere around there.
So, yeah, I'm gonna say it was $3.25, and then they would take, of course, taxes and insurance. We do had insurance through the company.
Yeah, it's over 3 because at 40 hours that would be $120. So, and I'd bring home about 125. So it was
I
just.
didn't bring home.
It was $3.25, $3.50 an hour probably.
I don't know how do we do it. How do we make it?
Well, steaks wasn't $16 a pound.
We didn't eat steak. We never ate steak.
We ate fish and deer, didn't we?
We ate fish and deer, and we ate hamburger meat.
A little bit of quail, a turkey, and no steak. A little bit of pork once in a while, I guess.
Chicken every once in a while.
When we go out and wring your head in the yard.
But it was more wild game than anything. But
On top of working, I hunted all the time.
all the time.
Fed everybody. Man, I was busy.
You was a busy man. But I do know, you can look back and you think, how in the world did I do all that? And it's like we had the energy of, I don't know. How did we have all that energy?
No end.
Because we could get up in the morning with 4 kids even and go all day and do all these jobs and come in and still.
Then if we had cattle and all that,
we didn't eat out. There was no eating out.
No.
So every meal was cooked or,
I didn't even, when I was trucking, I probably only ate, not every day, but about every day I'd eat one meal.
You didn't eat out. You ate a lot of cold hot dogs going down the road.
Well,
I remember that.
Lunch meat, and I just didn't go in and eat 3 meals a day, and because truck stop very expensive, and a lot of times I love breakfast, so that was one of the cheaper meals to eat, and I'd go in and eat, but occasionally I'd eat at night. But
yeah, you need to eat a good
I've done
breakfast.
a lot of snacking, not just junk, but.
But I mean, we can sit here and we could talk all day about the different jobs and what we've done all our life to keep ourselves going. And on top of that, we had a farm. We had kids. At some point, we've always had cattle, horses. I mean, and we just done it and never looked back. We never thought nothing. Here we are today.
Crippled up and
thinking, how did we do all this? But we did.
We just done it, didn't we?
And
a lot of people did.
And our children, the 2 boys, 2 girls.
Hard workers.
All 4 of them are very responsible.
Very responsible.
Work hard. You can never give them a job that they're ever going to say, no, I can't do that, because they will at least try, So I can say if we done anything right, they watched us always, do whatever it took to bring money into the home to make sure the bills were paid and the kids were fed.
And I'll tell you to this day, that was the best time of their life.
Yeah, and the best food.
Yeah.
Because, everything was homemade.
Always had a big meal. Always had meals. Always. They talk about how we all sat down and ate at the same time when I was there. But y'all did every day, probably.
Yeah, if you were off working, we always sat at the table and we sat down and we ate together. There was no, take their plate, go sit by the TV. There was none of that. So they do remember that.
Only had one channel.
Yeah, for a long time. There might have been 3 channels, but I can say the children, they all
have good morals, and
they work hard.
Work hard, and they believe in taking care of their family.
They sure do. They sure do. And I'm proud of them.
Yeah, they do well.
So, Like I said, we could do a whole nother podcast talking more about the jobs that we've done. And we might do that. I know we've talked about it before.
I know I've mentioned this, how many 5-gallon buckets of water I carried from farmhouse to the barn to mix feed when I just not very old. A bunch.
Well, I know how much.
I didn't know what chores weren't. That's all I knew.
Well, no, and most kids don't even know what a chore is anymore. Some do. Most
chores had to be done before anything else happened.
And our kids knew that too.
But my dad worked on the towboats for close to 30 years, so he was gone, a lot, and it's up to us there at home to take care of everything. So.
But like I said, you wore many hats, and the kids knew.
Jack of all trades, master of none.
And the kids watched them hats that you wore, and they knew that their dad worked hard all the time.
Yep, it's been a ride, ain't it?
Yeah, it has.
Who would have thought that we'd be on YouTube? I would have never thought that.
That's our last job.
I would have never, ever thought that.
That's our last job. And then we'll hang it up.
I don't know. I got people wanting me to go to work now. People hitting me up, want me to go to work.
So let's end this podcast with a
scripture reading?
With a scripture reading, please, Paul.
Sure. This is in Psalms 8. I'm reading out of a New King James Version. If I can get my big fingers in here to open it up. I got it marked, maybe. Psalms 8. The glory of God and Lord in creation. O Lord, our Lord, how excellent is your name in all the earth. You have set your glory above the heavens. Out of the mouth of babes and nursing infants, you have ordained strength because of your enemies, that you may silence the enemy and the avenger. When I consider your heavens, the work of your fingers, the moon and the stars which you have ordained, what is man that you are mindful of him, and the Son of Man that you visit him? For you have made him a little lower than the angels, and you have crowned him with a glory and honor. You have made him to have dominion over the works of your hands, and you have put all things under his feet, all the sheep and oxen, and the beasts of the field, the birds of the air, and the fish of the sea, that pass through the paths of the seas. O Lord, our Lord, how excellent is your name in all the earth.